When I was a boy, I read a book called The Hobbit. It made me long for that world. I wanted to live there, in that magical place, in Middle Earth. Later in my life, not much later, I read a book called Tom Sawyer. I wanted to live that life. I watched TV and I was captivated by the story of the Starship Enterprise. I wanted to seek out strange new worlds, new life, and new civilizations to boldly go. And I realized at some point I wanted to tell those kinds of stories. When I was caught up in those stories, I felt connected to some larger purpose, meaning. And that's when I was captivated by the idea of being a storyteller. I didn't just want to live the stories. I wanted to be the one who created them. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, the power of writing. When you create words, you create worlds. And it's never been more obvious to me than it is now. And it's never been more important than it is now. As writers, I believe it's not only our job to put words on a page or on a screen or in an audio, but I believe we're creating a vessel to hold something larger, to take people somewhere good. We are, in a sense, all copywriters for God. We're all prophets. We're prophesying a life of hope, of joy, of love. And that's what the world needs right now. You know, St. Francis of Assisi once said, "Preach the gospel at all times, and when necessary, use words." That quote resonates with me deeply because it demonstrates clearly how the actions we take, the way we live our life, is a story unto itself. We're telling a story all the time. What story, you might want to ask, is my life telling right now? You and I have a unique opportunity to let our lives tell a story we've crafted in advance. When I first started writing, I found myself copying the work of others. I wasn't trying to steal their work. I was trying to understand it. And that's how we all start. The more I wrote, the more I copied, the more I emulated, the more I learned. And eventually I began to develop my own voice as a writer, as a creator. And you're doing the same thing right now. Regardless of what business you think you're in the business of telling a story, your unique story that will inspire or discourage other people. You get to choose which way that goes. As I fell in love with writing, I tried all kinds of different styles and genres. Through this craft of writing, I found I could express ideas and emotions that were deeply meaningful to me and the people to whom I was communicating. I realized that writing is not just a job, it's a calling. It's a high calling, a noble calling. And if it's calling you, I want to encourage you to answer. Write. As writers, you and I have the privilege of inserting divine purpose and presence into the daily, into the mundane. Whether you're crafting a blog post or an email or the script for a podcast, whatever it is you're creating today, do it as an act of devotion. By practicing the presence of God in our work, we bring the divine into that process, and people can feel it. I want to encourage you to regard your writing as your divine work, your assignment from God. It's more than just a job. It's an assignment. And the question is, will you accept it? All you need is the will to follow a path with a heart, and don't turn back. Don't stop. Don't quit. Keep going. In the end, writing is more than just a hobby or an activity or even a job. It's a calling. It's a vehicle through which you can transform the lives of other people into a higher state from a lower state. You can lift people up. You can be part of the solution instead of being part of the problem. Your words have power. and you can speak the divine into existence. Thanks for listening. I can't wait to see what you create.